Welcome. And in this demo, I'm really going to be talking about working with typography and hierarchy, how to really think about movement through your piece, and bringing attention to the items that you want people to look at first, second, third, and so forth. So a lot of kind of stylizing your type. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm working on the McAllister's Deli menu rack card because that's really what you guys are working on right now. So I figured this would make the most sense. And I haven't made all of the changes that you guys made through your instructions, but I made some, and I really want to focus on um, these like typography stylized concepts here. And before you really stylize your font in your work, you really want to make sure that you bring in all the elements first. So I'm not doing a lot of design because I don't want your rack card to look like mine, and I don't want to give you too much. I want you to be creative with your own, but I did pull in the logo and I did pull in a picture that's at the bottom. So you really want to place your items first before you really start formatting. Because if you format, um, then you may not have room for your images, and you can always adjust later. And just because I have it the way that I have it right now doesn't mean that that's the only way. Like, for example, oops, um, I could absolutely take this, let me deselect that picture. But I really could, do something more like this if I wanted to. The picture doesn't have to be at the bottom. I'm really just kind of putting it there because I pulled a very horizontal picture, and so it makes sense to put it that direction. Obviously, if I pulled one, I had another one. I'm not sure what I did with it, but I have another one that's more of a vertical, so I wouldn't want to place that one down here because it would be kind of awkward with the text. It would push some of the text over. So I have my elements in here, and I really want to start thinking about the elements that I have as far as type goes. So I have a header that says menu sandwiches, and then I have these headers that are for the food themselves, and then I have kind of these descriptions. So right now they all look the same. They're all upper lowercase for the most part. I mean, obviously I'd want to go through and change these to be capital, but there's really no hierarchy here, so I'm not really telling anybody what to look at first, second, third. So that's what I'm really working on here. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm sorry, I should have turned my email off, but I didn't. So let me just close that real quick. Okay, so now what I can do is I'm going to click on sandwich menu and I'm going to center it. So now it feels different from these others. And then if I go to my character, which I don't have open, so I'm going to go to window, anything under type and tables, anything you're looking for typography is going to be here. I'm going to go to character and I'm going to move this in here because I want to keep it there. So I am going to go to all caps on my sandwich menu because this is the kind of header. So I want it to stand out more so than anything else. And right now I'm using Helvetica, and this is perfectly fine. You can pick a different typeface, but I like to use typefaces that have multiple options to it. So this has a light oblique, which is italic, regular oblique, which is italic. So this is light italic and then italic, bold, and bold oblique. So there's lots of options here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this all caps, and I'm going to make it bold. So now it's a little bit, it stands out a little more, and I'm going to make it a little bigger, but I'm also looking at this logo and I don't want it to outshine the logo. So I could also make this a color, and if I wanted to, I can use my eyedropper and eyedropper this orange color. So if I just click on the orange, you can see that it just made that orange. So that makes it stand out a little more. And of course I can use the green too if I wanted to. So this, now I have this style set. So I'm going to come over to my character styles and I'm going to go to the 4 little lines, new character style, and I'm going to call this menu title. So this is my menu title. So it's, I don't know why I didn't fill in Helvetica, but I'm going to just fill it in as Helvetica bold. It's all caps, and I'm going to say OK. So I need to click on menu title here so that it's applied to that. And I'm not sure what happened. Oh, that's a different Helvetica, that's why. So it changed it. So I had it on Helvetica TT. So let's go over here. Helvetica. Oh, that's right. I just set it to condensed. So let's just do bold instead of condensed, and it'll change it back to that other version. And says it's bold. Okay, so now I have this menu title set here. So for my other type, I'm going to select everything, and I have this set as Helvetica regular, and I'm going to do it in the beginning because I want to set kind of this description area. And so I'm going to set this as 10.5. So don't feel like you're stuck with these kind of general options. You're not. You can change this to whatever you want. And then notice that the leading is set to auto right now, which is why it's in brackets. And it's going to be 2 points larger than whatever your point size is, which is great. That's what you want it to be. So I'm going to just type in here 12.5, or I can set it to auto, which by auto it's doing 12.6. Not sure why, but that's fine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my paragraph style. So, and I'm doing paragraph styles because I have a paragraph style because it's left justified. And also I may want to set some space before, space after, and because those are paragraph attributes, then I need to set a paragraph style. So I'm going to go ahead and say new paragraph style, and this is going to be called descriptions, or I could call it item descriptions. That makes a little bit more sense. And you could see it just picked up all those settings that I have. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that because I keep forgetting when I set the style. When you go to a new style, if you click this apply style to selection, it'll do it for you. But if you don't click on that, you have to click the item after. So now I have this item description. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to format my titles. So I'm just going to select one. I'm going to increase it. So thinking about the size of this this menu, which I have set as a 12, it's also all caps and bold. This one, I can still set it as 12 and bold if I wanted to, because this is all caps and it's also a different color. So there still is a difference between those two. So, and I could make this green if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave it black. And you can see that it put a plus after it because this is no longer tied to this item description. I changed it from that style, and that's fine. We're going to set a new style for our menu items. So I'm going to do a paragraph style on this one again because I want to be able to set this space after. So if you hit space after, it gives you a little space between your item and that information. And if you do a space before, that's really going to help. It's not going to make a difference here, but instead of having a full space here, you can actually do space before, which is what I prefer to do. So I'm going to do some space. I'm going to do 2 spaces before and 1 space after. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my style and I'm going to go to new paragraph style, and this is going to be menu, oops, item title, or just menu item, yeah, that's fine, or name, really whatever helps you to remember, you know, what it is. So here now it says menu item name. So as soon as I click, I'm going to click on this next one and go to menu item name. You can see that it added some space before, but I still have a space there, so I'm going to delete it. So all I'm doing is clicking on these titles and giving it that style that we just set. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete the spaces that I have because I just want to use the space before. So this really helps me to see how much space do I have for formatting. Do I want to change my picture to something taller? Do I feel like this is pretty tight, which it is, and this one doesn't have the dot leaders in it, so we're going to need to make sure that we are changing some of the formatting within this one. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm not clicked on anything within my text box, because otherwise it'll change what I have going on over here. But I'm going to go to, let's go to our item description, and I'm going to change this from 10.5 to, let's go to 11. And I can hit preview in this bottom left corner and move my window and it'll show me, or I can just go ahead and do it. So I did that. And then the other thing I'm going to change is I'm going to go back to my menu item names, and I'm going to go to indent and spacing, and my space after I'm going to change to 0.03. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit right here. So if I hit preview, you could see it tightens it. It tightens it up. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's go to these $8.99, $7.99. These are all fine. It's this one that has an issue. So I can knock down some of these words here. So that the $7.99 then has some words to it, so that works a lot better. And then I just need to decide, how do I want to kind of adjust this space here? Like, how do I don't want to leave it. That doesn't really make any sense. So I could open up between each of these again, but I would change it to the space before. So in other words, and I'm clicked in here. I want to make sure I'm clicked off of it. But I'm going to go back to my menu item name, indent and spacing, and I'm going to go to my space before and add another space. So that spread that out a little bit. I'm going to take this box and move it down a little. I am going to go to my other preview here for a minute because I changed my, you're supposed to be changing your margins and columns to 0.375. And I have mine set at 0.375, but I hadn't lined that up yet, so I want to do that. So, and I should have done that first because you can see that now it knocked some of my stuff down. So I'm going to go ahead and select my body. Oops. And that's what happens if you're selected in there. You want to make sure you're not selected on anything. I'm going to select, actually, I'm going to go to my tab and select all here. And my tab is way too far now because I moved my, I moved the text box in. So Command Shift T brings up that tab menu. So I just wanted to bring that back in. So now I have it set up. And there's a good space here for all of these items. And I could bring this down a little just to give it some breathing room up at the top. So this feels a lot better. And this here has a widow, but I'm going to leave it because there's already a huge space here. One of the things I could do is I could try this, and that looks pretty good. Um, I may go back and adjust my space again, and I can see this one has an issue. I don't want to leave it like that. So I can just come up here and knock a few things down so that now there's some words here. So you just want to make sure all your prices are lined up on this side and that they all have dollar signs. So just give it a look over for some consistency. I can move this down a little more. If I wanted to change this, which menu item, let me see. And when I'm clicking on these, I'm looking to see what is it that, what do these have? And I think there's a plus because I added my tab. I selected everything and did my tab. So that changed my styles. If I go, let's see if, where's my tabs? And let me set my tab here and preview it. So let's see if this fixes it. Interesting. And also, you can create new styles here too if you want to. So make sure that you set your margins first, not like I did. I moved them after. I should have checked that first because it'll keep it cleaner. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna increase this. It says it's bold. And we are good to go on this information, on this stuff here. And also, I want to show you what leading. So I talked about leading in another video, but your leading, and I did talk about how it needs to be at least 2 points bigger. But you can open up the leading a little bit. You can see it just kind of gives it more breathing space. So that's what leading is. And kerning is that space that's between your letter forms. So like sometimes a T and an I are really close together, almost attached. But you can definitely adjust your you can adjust it here. And if you hover, it'll tell you this is kerning. So that just adjusts that space between the letters themselves. And then another thing I wanted to talk about was watermarks. And watermarks, you can use watermarks for pretty much, you can use them with anything. So like, even if I wanted to take the McAllister's logo, I could use that as a watermark in the background. I wouldn't do it on this one because I already have the logo here. But if they had another icon that just had like the MA, I might use it here as a watermark. You can also use a picture as a watermark. And for what I have going, I probably wouldn't use anything, but just to kind of show you, you want to make sure it's a high-res image too. You can see this doesn't look very high-res, and I'm on high quality too. So if I send this to the back, which is under Object, Arrange, Send to Back, or Command-Shift, and then use the brackets, what I could do is I could turn down the opacity, and then it uses it out as a watermark. The only thing here is that I have a white background on this, so I'd have to fix that because that doesn't look good. Or you could bring this down. You just don't want to see like a sharp line because that's also not going to look very good. But that's what a watermark is. It's basically just throwing something in the background, just kind of as just a little something of interest. And then the other thing is for special characters, there are a few things here that I wanted to show you. And I'm not sure we're really going to use it on this project, but I don't know why it's saying my font is missing. That's kind of weird. But Anyway, I do want to show you a couple of things here. There's something called glyphs. So under type glyphs, there's this window that comes up, and your fonts down at the bottom, you can find fonts. They all have symbols that go to them. So Wingdings has like actual, more like picture kind of things. So if I wanted to add, you know, a watermark with a sandwich, I could go probably find a glyph that had a sandwich. Or like, let's say I was doing something and I wanted to use some kind of a square, or let's do this diamond. So if I want to do the diamond as like a little bullet, if I double click this, it puts it in my text box for me. So just open a text box and double click on whichever glyph you want. And I can go find some other, like let me go to a different Wingdings. Let me go to Wingdings 2 and see what's there. And you can see little pointy fingers. I can also go to, I mean, really any font has stuff. So here's a little heart, here's scissors. So that's always helpful when you're doing coupons. So if I were adding bullets to something, like let's just say that I had some placeholder text here. And let me change this to a different, a different font. And cancel. And let me go to character. Let me just take that off of the all caps. All right. Why is this making it pink? Let's make it a different typeface here. Okay. So let's say that I wanted this to be bullets, and I want to use this diamond. I can actually copy that and paste it in there, and it becomes part of that text. And it's a bullet now. So if I hit paste, I can hit and enter here, and now it's part of that. But it becomes kind of a bullet. So you can actually paste these glyphs into your elements, and they stay. Another thing is there are these special characters, and if you go under symbols, and they're not highlighted because I'm not clicked in here, so let's do that again. Insert special character symbol. There's a bullet, which is also option 8. Copyright symbol. Oh, it doesn't like the font that I have selected. There's the copyright symbol. Type special character symbol. Ellipse paragraph symbol. Register trademark, which is the TM. Section symbol. Trademark symbol. Let's look at the difference between those. Oh, registration. That's a registered mark. Okay, and then let's go back to, there are some other ones here, hyphens and dashes. There's different dashes here, which we'll go over. And then here's some quote marks too. So just some quick kind of finds on symbols. All right, so that's all I have on this demo, but just some things to think about when you're thinking about your menu and hierarchy, and giving some difference to these different items that you might have. And that's all I have. Thank you.